Welcome to Android Authority on Air, the original hangout show for Android on Google+. I'm Derek Ross.
I'm Scott Anderson.
This week we are joined by returning guests John Franklin as well as Phil Matuzis from Technician, the company, the mastermind behind Chameleon Launcher. Welcome, guys. Glad to have you again.
What's up,
Thanks.
guys?
So, Scott, what's on the agenda this week besides Chameleon?
Well, we're going to be talking about some Android ecosystem news, some app updates that added a lot of functionality over this long week. We're going to be going over Chameleon Launcher and some new updates and some feature stuff. And then we're going to be going over some new and rumored devices, Android devices. And we're going to be going over updates for Jellybean, Ice Cream Sandwich. We're going to be doing some little bit of Rootman ramen. And then patent wars and some carrier news.
You know, I like Root and Ramen. We're going to hold off on that. So let's talk about some Android news real quick. Google Play continues to grow. The Play Store is still growing. It's getting massive. They're adding content all the time. And this past week they added over 600 titles for movies and TV shows. So if you're into Family Guy, I mean, who isn't into Family Guy, right? Modern Family, Prometheus, and so forth, content like that, and you can now get that on the Play Store. Prometheus, actually, it's not due on Blu-ray and DVD for another, about 3 weeks. You can go ahead and get that right now for, what is it, $14.99 HD on the Play Store. So
Nice.
if you're into Alien or the Alien line, Prometheus is a pretty good movie, and you can get it before any of your friends can on Blu-ray right now.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if Google continues to offer things like this, you know, pre-DVD and Blu-ray release.
Not to say, you know what? Not to say that I obtain movies illegally, because that's bad. But if I did, this might make a person that does that, you know, move from the illegal way of getting movies to paying for them. Because, I mean,
coming
you
out
get a
sooner.
high-quality movie, you don't have to wait 6 months for it to show up in some online store. You're getting it actually 3 weeks before you can buy it in retail. That's amazing. That's what we need.
Piracy really is a service problem.
Yeah. Piracy's filling that service problem.
Mhm.
So I think this is a good move. I'm happy. I didn't buy it yet. I guess I should practice what I preach, but I am going to do it. Speaking of Google Play, the Nexus 7 $25 credit that you got, because everybody has a Nexus 7, right? Well, that $25 credit that you got, they're canceling that promotion. The promotion is ending in just a few days. On September 30th, it's going away. So if you're on the fence about buying a Nexus 7, you might want to do it very, very, very soon, because that $25 credit's going away. And if you think about it, you're spending $200 on the device, or $250 depending on 16 gig or 8 gig. Then you're getting $25 off of that price, basically. They're giving you $25 to buy apps, games, movies, Prometheus. You know, they're giving you free money that you're going to spend anyways, chances are. So you're really, you know, that's really bringing the cost of the device down to $175 or $225. As well as a whole bunch of other stuff to bring the cost down, but we don't need to get into all the Nexus 7 nitty-gritty. So use it use it if you have it. And said if you're on the fence about buying it, you should definitely buy it soon. But if you do have the money isn't going away. It's going to stay there till next June, I believe, June 30th. So you know that money is still yours to keep. They're not taking it away. They're just stopping the ability for new people, new purchases to get that money. Hope I didn't make that confusing. This week, Android Police posted an article saying all the different things that were wrong with stock Jellybean. And lead Android designer Matisse Duarte said he saw it, and he said, you know what, you're right. Android is about a third of the way there where I want it to be. There's a lot of work left to do. Okay, back to work. So I saw what he did from Gingerbread to Ice Cream Sandwich, and that was amazing. And, you know, you think it really could get a whole lot better, right? And then you see from Ice Cream Sandwich to Jellybean, or at least 2% of the population sees that so far. So, so I mean, and that's that's even amazing. The tiny little tweaks here and there, and a little bit of polish here and there, all that butter. That's amazing. So this guy knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing, and if it's only a third of the way there in his mind, wow, are we in for some major changes over the next 2 years or less? Over the next year. I mean, I'm excited in a couple months when Chen's, fingers crossed, confidence high when Key Lime Pie comes out. I mean, what is this guy going to do for us then, right?
More butter.
Yeah, more. He did mention that. He did say that even it wasn't just UI, but also responsiveness. He said he was about a third of the way where he wanted to be, but you never even more responsive. I mean, you can't ever improve on anything if you're going to be an apologist for the operating system. It should always be in a state where you think everything could get better. You should pursue perfection. So
I'm sure Phil, as a developer, you could probably appreciate that. Always trying to make things better, bigger, better, faster.
Absolutely, it's never good enough. Like you love your baby, but it's never good enough. It can always be better. There's always that next feature.
Exactly. Last thing with Android news here. This past week, the IDC, the research firm that releases quarterly information on the mobile market, they released their numbers stating that Android has a massive 68% of the global market share for the past quarter. iOS, sorry Phil, iOS is only rocking 17% out of that. I know you're a little bit of an iOS fan.
Not really. I mean, I love them both. I've got iOS, I've got Android. Chameleon's really made Android sort of my go-to device with my Nexus 7, which I love. And you should pick it up before that $25 expires if you don't have it already.
There you go. Exactly.
With it.
And four times that's nuts. I'm sorry. That's amazing. 68% compared to 17%. I didn't know that it was that high. So. I mean, yeah, you could say people were holding out for the iPhone 5. That's why they didn't buy phones the past quarter, which is probably true, and that could have brought the numbers up or down. We'll see here in 3 months what this quarter is, but I bet Android's still going to be killing on top.
Also, there are some countries that iOS is not offered in, so that's kind of a stickler with that.
A lot of times they're late to the party in a lot of countries too, and they just don't offer any. It's one thing if you started out on iOS and you got tied to that ecosystem. It's another thing when you bring a phone that doesn't have any more of a feature set late to the party.
Yeah, very true.
Anthony Feliciano, I just saw your comment about root and ramen noodles. Yes, that's actually what our segment is about. We go over our favorite flavors of ramen noodles. Root is apparently one of them.
Root and ramen noodles.
Oh, that's great. We're going to start calling it from now on.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to some app updates. First, and notably best, in my perspective, is Google Maps got updated to version 6.12. Basically, this brings desktop syncing and history across all connected devices, including navigation history of where you've searched to go and where you've navigated to and from. And there's also a new way to zoom, which is very handy. Basically, what you do is you double tap on the screen or the map, and you swipe up or swipe down. And it's very convenient, and it's better than that plus or minus in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. You guys think it's a good feature?
The zoom? No, I'm not coordinated enough to apparently do it with one hand. I normally pinch to zoom and spin and pinch to zoom all at the same time. I never used a plus or minus to zoom ever. I didn't even know that was there.
Yeah, it's in the labs.
Yeah, I always pinch to zoom. I mean, obviously I'm using two hands, right? So I got my one hand holding it, other hand sitting there pinching and zooming and doing all that good stuff. Yeah, I tried the whole one-fingered zoom, and I don't understand how it could be a different function, but it just seems like it's laggy doing it with one finger. Maybe that's just me.
Personally, it might be the ROMs that we're running. I don't know.
ROMs don't do anything bad. Come on.
As your camera crashes when you open it.
It might have something to do with me having my set CPU settings up high when Google Maps is running. That might be it.
Hold the phone here. You're now tweaking your CPU?
Oh, I got a lot of stuff tweaked. I'm more into it now.
This guy a month ago didn't even know what root meant. He's doing custom ROMs and kernels and tweet. Wow, you are a force to be reckoned with. That's amazing.
It's extremely useful. Maps is a pretty intensive program, and I need to ramp up my clock speed.
Ramp it up. Ramp it up.
So, I mean, it seems faster, but awesome upgrades. Also, moving on to the next app.
Let's talk about maps here just real quick. Since you happen to mention Google Maps, let's just talk about that since it's in the news today.
It's all over the internet.
So apparently,
I haven't seen any memes related to that or anything though.
Did you guys happen to see that image that Android Authority shared earlier today, where apparently some poor guy decided to use iOS to iOS 6 to drive his car to his buddy's house, wound up on top of the tree. I mean, now in England, there's like heading into somewhere, I saw an image of someone saying, if you upgrade to iOS 6, we have local paper maps here for you to use. Like,
available in the booking office.
Yeah, so basically what's going on all over the news is people are griping about iOS 6 and their maps.
They ditched the Goog in... a lot of people were pissed, to be quite blunt. It's horrible from what I'm reading. I don't know. Phil, how is it, buddy? Have you tried it?
I upgraded to iOS 6 last night, and it hasn't been the best experience so far. I like the maps, like they're nice when they work, they're pretty good. It's nice to have turn by turn, but people are having a lot of problems with it. It's early, could be better. I had a great time looking at Big Ben in 3D. Did that for a good half hour, but that's really the most I've used it.
but could you find Big Ben if you had to go there? That's the thing,
I think they've got London down. It's just maybe some more obscure locations they don't quite have. And there's
like towns are missing, and buildings are like a gas station is apparently located on top of like a skyscraper. Stuff like that.
Well, I will say this: the first thing I did after updating and seeing the new Maps app was try to find a Google Maps iOS app to download, and I couldn't find one.
Yeah.
I think they did say they were working on one. So
I don't know
if it gets approved, if it even gets
There's
approved.
certainly a market for one right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you have your desktop and it saves everything from, it's crazy. I mean, the synchronization between maps and the fact that you have an online cloud-based desktop, tablet, whatever, Apple doesn't have that. They don't have Street View as well. They don't have the raw data that Google has. And
the traffic data or transit stations is a big one.
In their defense, think of it as version 1. Maybe the next time around, gas stations and airports won't be located on top of buildings. So let's talk about let's get back to talking about a little bit about Android. So what's the next app that got updated, Scott?
Well, the next app is SoundCloud. Some of you might be listening to us on SoundCloud. We are on SoundCloud, and it got updated. Basically, it adds some new offline editing tools. Basically, you can trim a track. You can fade in, fade out effects. Also, you can pause and resume audio recording. So if you're listening to somebody talk or a speech, you can then stop it and pause it, and then continue recording, and it won't create a new file. It'll add on to that additional file, which is very nice, I think, in the usability front. Also, I know that we're on Google+, but Facebook is trying some new things. Their stock is falling, and they have to try some new things. So they had some huge improvements to Facebook Messenger. They had an option for some people, although we don't know how to get it, but that you can do some SMS through the Facebook Messenger app, which is kind of interesting. Integrating an almost dead technology is pretty cool. They are also testing their mobile ad network. Google Plus has no ads. Well, Facebook is testing mobile ads because they have to get ad revenue. And one of my people that I work with, I saw an ad right in the middle of the stream, and it's invasive and big.
Yeah, I'm just telling you right now, I wouldn't like an ad in the middle of my mobile stream, just because that's something that we're accustomed to not seeing. I mean, I understand people need to make money, but that's a huge change. That's not just a subtle change.
If it was extremely relevant to me and my location, like in Google Now, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, I guess, hey, you're at this coffee shop and they're having a sale on,
here's $5 off.
barista gear.
I think for advertisements to even be effective, they have to be kind of contextual. You're not going to sell somebody something in a situation where they want to. If they're scrolling through a stream trying to see what their mom said today or how they're, whatever, they're not in the mode to want to buy something. But if you're searching for something and actually looking for something, that's the point that you're going to respond to an advertisement. A lot of times, if you look on Google search, the official website for the for what you're searching for will be the advertisement, and I can understand making money like that because you're giving them something when it's actually useful.
Yeah, and another thing that Facebook is experimenting with, that feature that Google Plus has had around for their mobile app to automatically upload your pictures?
18 months since day one.
From the beginning.
Yeah, so that little feature that we know and love, Facebook is working on that type of same feature with pictures. I don't know about videos, but pictures definitely.
It's a very useful picture. I use it all the time.
I do too. I wish it was a tad bit faster when it would show me in the mobile app on when it's uploaded or not.
Yeah, I think it's not meant for instant. I mean, if you take something and you instantly want to share it, then yeah, that's what you use it for. But if you're just out and about and you're taking a whole bunch of pictures, you get home later that night, you're like, okay, I want to share my album that I took, or whatever. Then that's what it's used for. Or for, oops, I lost my phone, I want to cry, I lost all my pictures. Oh, don't worry, they're backed up.
Yeah, more for documenting things and enjoying it, and then going back and reliving, as opposed to taking the picture. Yeah. Oh, let's be on our phone and share. Yeah. And then, Derek, we got a Twitter update, right?
Twitter, yeah. So if you're still twittering all the things, you're tweeting all over the place. They had some neat new features. They new profiles and header photos. That's actually kind of cool. That's completely different from the me section. You can have a header photo, like a banner. Photo streams are for profiles and events. You can actually pinch to zoom on photos now, which before you weren't able to do that. They have improved account protection, account management, and just polishes, fixes, improvements here and there, bug fixes, yada yada yada. I think actually search is actually improved too. Search suggestions for people, topics, hashtags, all that good stuff. So it was a nice, sizable update if you're into tweeting.
And what's our Twitter handle?
Android Auth.
Okay, for all you Twitter folks, Android Auth.
So I hear we had another big app update over the past week. Phil, as he said, is here. He's joined in the conversation a few times. Phil is from Technician. Technician is the famous company behind the Chameleon launcher for Android tablets thus far, soon coming to phones. Soon, in parentheses. They started out on Kickstarter, raised a whole bunch of money. We had them on the show a while ago talking about the initial release of the device and everything that it was going to do, and they've come a long way in the past few months. This past week, you guys released the official version 1 on the Play Store for download, as well as the past week had tons of updates. Release candidate 1 and all sorts of stuff. So how's that going, Phil? What have you guys been up to since we last talked?
Right. So I guess we'll do a quick little history. It was just 6 weeks ago, 6 or 7 weeks ago, episode 23, that I first came on, that we had just released the beta. But the whole story of Chameleon goes back, 4 months ago. It was May 16th that we started our first Kickstarter campaign, and it was really well received. We weren't sure. We had this idea, and we wanted to see if people were into it. We went on Kickstarter. People were totally into it. However, soon afterwards, we got embroiled in some scandal and international intrigue, and it kind of forced us to cancel the campaign. But we were down but not out. Less than a week later, we relaunched and reached our goal in less than 24 hours. So we knew that we had something. Chameleon was being picked up by thousands of media outlets, all over the world. We couldn't even read half of them. It was unbelievable. All eyes were on us, and it really fired us up. We were headed towards uncharted territory. It was our first self-published application. And we had no idea how much work it was going to be when we set out to put a beta in people's hands by August. But we didn't want to make people wait months and months like many other Kickstarter campaigns do. So after what can only be described as a superhuman dedication and work ethic, we began rolling out our first version of the beta on the eve of August 1st. But we didn't have much time to celebrate, being one of the first software companies to release an app on time, because we had a long way to go still. And work resumed August 2nd, and 50 days later, 14 builds and 305 revisions, we reached a point where we thought we were ready to go with V1. We were ready for prime time. There isn't an Android device in the office that any of us own, that we either bring to work or have at home, that isn't running Chameleon as the default home screen. We never see the default Android launcher anymore. So I personally, and on behalf of Technician, we really want to thank all of our Kickstarter backers, all the early adopters, all the pre-order customers, as well as the thousands of people who emailed us and tweeted and shared, posted, liked, or hated Chameleon. They've made the last 4 months of our lives a crazy sleep-deprived adventure. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. And really, it's just the beginning. We've got so much more planned, and we just wrapped up our latest update, which I think we're going to be pushing out tomorrow. So version 101, and it's got 15 new improvements that we've added. So we hope everybody really likes it.
So was it beginning of this week or late last week? I don't remember. Widgets, the API for that finally came out. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we released the Widget API a little bit before we released V1. We wanted to get it out there a little bit sooner to get some developer hands on it. And since then, we've been getting a lot of emails from a lot of people, saying, "Oh, look at this widget. I've seen all kinds of crazy widgets. People have made some Flickr widgets and task widgets and IP camera widgets." It's really been nice to see the developers getting involved in making their own widgets. And before long, you're going to start seeing that widget catalog grow, not just from our widgets that we're going to be adding. So Google+, calendar, improved email, and media. Those are all definitely on the docket. And then after that, there's going to be more. But by the end of that time, we'll have the third-party widgets in there and some new features that we think will really change the conversation around Chameleon.
So what features in this past update did you come out with that it added?
So this next update that we'll be pushing out tomorrow doesn't have...
What version is it?
101.
Okay, 101.
Yeah, so it's just a 0.01 release, so it's just got a lot of improvements. So adding custom wallpapers, that's been improved now, so you can add a wallpaper from your email app or anywhere where you've got the image, you can add a custom wallpaper. As well, the quality of the wallpaper has been improved. Before, it was compressed a little bit, but now it looks a lot better. We've improved the API, so some of the developers out there are going to be happy to see that. A bunch of minor bug fixes. There hasn't been any serious crashes or freezing problems, but there have been minor annoyances people have been reporting, so we've been taking care of that. Widgets. There's an issue plaguing some users where widgets will appear blank sometimes, so we've got that one pretty much nailed down now. And miscellaneous things.
Awesome. Well, it seems like you guys are heavy in development and really looking to improve the experience as a whole, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
When is there any type of pipeline date for that? I believe last time we talked almost like a catalog where developers would put their widgets, so it would be more than just your widgets, the widgets that third-party developers added. Is that still going to be something that you will plan on implementing in the future, where everybody's widgets will be and you can sorted by category or something like that?
Yeah, the sophistication of the catalog will depend on how many widgets we have, but we're definitely going to be opening it up to third-party widgets, making third-party widgets available to all users. But we of course want to make sure that the API is solid and that we've worked with developers to make sure that the widgets, meet our standards. I would say, I can't put a deadline on it exactly. We're definitely working hard on it. Right now, our focus is finishing up the Google Plus widgets and the calendar and the other widgets that we're working on. And after that's done, we're going to then move to focusing on getting the third-party widgets in there and improving and bolstering our widget catalog.
So I see in the last version the ability to publish tweets and status updates from Facebook was added, correct?
Yeah, so Twitter and Facebook. So if you have the Twitter app installed or the Facebook app installed, you know, the Twitter and Facebook widget in Chameleon now gives you a shortcut to be able to post.
Is that functionality? Is that functionality going to be available for Google Plus as well, or is it just going to be a feed of your stream?
I'm not working on the Google Plus widget myself, but if it's possible, we're going to put it in there.
Okay, good answer. Now those of us that were Kickstarter backers, yeah, we're now famous, right? A new shout-outs, yeah, just a little, nice little shout-out section was added. I like that. So that said, what here? How do I get to it here? I don't remember. Oh man.
Go to the apps.
All right, that's right. You go to the apps, and up at the top you hit shout-outs, and all your everybody's names appears in little circles, and you can search for your name. All 798 backers are on there.
They made us famous, and we're gonna make them famous.
Yeah, that's fair. That's nice. That's nice.
We have a question from Michael Neese. Will a smaller or tighter widget grid be launched with for the 10-inch tablets?
We are playing around with the idea of adjusting the grids for the different size tablets. Nothing is written in stone on that yet, so we're still gauging people's feedback, trying to find the sweet spot for the grids there. But I can't comment exactly on what we're going to do, But we're going to try and make sure that we find a grid that most people are comfortable with.
Personally, my view is the more grids, the better, because let's say you want to have it some way. You have more customization with more grids, and that's how I would feel.
Well, we're working on redesigning some parts of the app to kind of fit a lot more with the philosophy behind Chameleon and take context, which is actually a big central core feature of Chameleon, and bring that back to the forefront. And the idea that we have actually would mean that this grid problem would no longer be an issue with this redesign that we're thinking of. So we're taking people's feedback, and we're not just thinking, okay, well, we'll just do it that way to fix it. If people are having problems or they have ideas on how to improve things, and they need to go back and figure out, well, why is it that they have this issue? How can we go deeper and make sure that we fix the root cause of the problem and not just give them more grids and say, there you go, it's fixed?
Yeah. That'd be extremely interesting. A gridless design that is not limited by that. That would be cool. Very cool.
I didn't say gridless, but
I'm just saying something like that.
Yeah.
Would add a lot more functionality.
Yeah, and that's just the beginning. Chameleon, it was really hardcore development for several months. I mean, we're a small team, and we've been putting in intensely long hours. We've got to this point now, and from this point on, it's just going to get better and better. We've stayed true to the original design, but since starting, we've had a lot of new ideas and concepts on how to make Chameleon even more useful.
Now, how big is your team?
The development team, there's 4 of us.
Okay.
Wow.
And all 4 of you working on separate projects or kind of tag team a little bit?
We tag team a little bit. Depends on the size of the task. So I mostly focus on the Android side. I focus more on the UI stuff. We've got developers working on the widgets, working on the widget API. We've got developers who are communicating with support and forums and making sure we get all the bugs in and fixing bugs. We all fix bugs. We all add features. We all get together and sort of share the tasks. But Chameleon really was a monumental task, and it looks simple. It's deceptive in its simplicity. For an app to have so little actual UI to it, but be able to do so much, it's difficult to pull that off.
Yeah, the contexts are nice. I noticed that this past week in one of the updates, might even have been the release candidate, that a countdown was added. 10 seconds, we're going to be switching screens based on this context, or something. I was using that earlier. I had my context set up for home and for work, and I got home and I just pulled out my tablet, and within a few seconds of being on it, I saw, hey, we're switching screens, and a little ring circular thing came up and started counting down. I liked that. That was it just gave it a little something. That's
really polished. Do you like the reveal?
Yeah.
You never see anything like that in Android, Yeah.
Now, speaking of Android, since you said you're on the Android development side, I know that you guys don't officially, try to support this ROM, that ROM, this ROM, that ROM. You're mainly focusing on official versions. So, and since you noted that in the changelog, I have to ask: have you heard certain ROMs not being compatible? I mean, has that been an issue?
That actually hasn't been as much of an issue since we've been improving the beta. At first had a lot of problems, but since we've fixed a lot of the problems with the beta, it just magically became more compatible with a lot more devices.
Okay.
We've got a ton of people running touchpads, and we've seen people running it on the 5-inch Notes. We've seen people running it on tablets that we've never heard of before. And in the Google developer console where you can see what people are running, there's a lot of crazy stuff in there.
That's
and
interesting.
It's
You've
very
seen them
compatible.
on the tablet. I wonder how that they were able to install it on the Note, I guess.
There's some really ingenious Android developers out there.
Or they just took the APK. I mean, that's simple. You just download it on your tablet, then you take the APK and toss it on your.
A couple of build prop edits and framework edits, and you can work it on out.
Edit your build.prop, and there you go. It's now supported.
Yeah,
I imagine it would look pretty nice on a Galaxy Note 2, though.
Yeah, right now Chameleon is optimized for 7-inch and larger displays, right? So that's really the whole idea. It'll run on a smaller display, but we haven't really dialed in everything to be optimal, to give it the optimal experience on the smaller displays. But we will be, of course, when we release the phone version.
Ooh.
Yes. It's no secret. I mean, we announced the phone version in Kickstarter, and we're really excited about it, actually. Right now, there's a bunch of people waiting in line for the iPhone 5. I wanted to grab the SD3 we have in the office, put Chameleon on there, and go to make fun of the people who are waiting in line. Show them Chameleon, show them the contacts, show them the dashboards and the widgets, and say, "Yeah, can your iPhone do this? Looks great to you."
Did you see that new ad by Samsung?
Yeah.
That's great. I love it.
They're pretty funny.
I love those commercials. They're so funny.
All right, so Phil, we have another question here, and I'm curious as well, as I'm a guy that has work email. Has there any? We asked this last time we chatted. Has there been any headway or any thought on adding non-Gmail? Adding personal email accounts from I don't know. I mean, maybe Yahoo, Hotmail, maybe my work email. I mean, any other email besides Gmail?
Yeah, we agree. The Gmail widget, I mean, it's limited right now just because of the API that Google provides. Obviously, we would want to be able to show a lot more than that. But just like the grid concerns of users, email concern, we want to kind of go back to the root and see if we can figure out a way to solve the root problem. So I think we've come up with a way to do that. I'm not going to give anything away, but email should be a lot better in a future update.
Well, does it involve any back-end services that technician would have to host, and then that's my thought.
I can't say.
That's my thought.
But
an account would be registered on the technician server, and that's where your email would reside. And we'll get into that later. That's how I would probably do it if I had to get around it. Anyways, so do we have any other questions about Chameleon here? Okay, here's a Gmail question. Speaking of email, the widget that is being designed, do you know if you'll be able to add multiple accounts, or at least maybe multiple widgets? Maybe I have my personal Gmail account, and then I have an Android Authority email account, and but they're both Gmail, and I want one on each widget. Is that functionality going to be available, or is it just one account fits all?
What we want to be able to do is at least provide what Android will give you out of the box.
Okay.
So that's as much as I can say on that right now.
So I'm going to say yes then, because I can add multiple Gmail accounts to my Android devices and check them all. I don't know.
There's only so much I'm allowed to say, right? I mean, a lot of what we're doing is still kind of R&D. There's a lot of things that we're not sure.
That's fine. You know what? And I'm picking your brain, and you guys are doing a great job. We appreciate everything you're doing. It's an amazing launcher. It keeps getting better and better. I'll be the first to say 100%. I was skeptical at the beginning. I tried to. Yeah, you remember that, don't you? I tried to use it. And I'm just like, you know what? I need more. I need more. And it's come a long way in a short time. I like it. I do. And once we get Calendar and Google Plus, I might have to turn it into my default UI. I might.
It won't be long.
It's been very nice the more I've used it. I think it's probably the first example of making a tablet honestly take good advantage of what screen space you have, because the application in, application out, go to the next application is just kind of, it makes sense for a phone because you're limited on display size. But for any of the tablets, and that's Windows 8 and iOS and Android included, that's just kind of shameful that they can't take advantage of a 10-inch screen better than they can.
Yeah,
the way it is stock. I mean. Yeah, and the thing, what we hear from a lot of people using Chameleon, it's really so different than the default launcher that just, by nature, people are going to sort of be uncomfortable with a whole new paradigm that they're not used to. Because you look at it and you're like, well, now, what do I do with this? But after people have had it for a day or two, we hear back from them and they love it now. They almost don't even want to go back to the stock launcher. Chameleon is the sort of thing that you need to start using it. We've designed it to be as useful as possible, and you can't get that from it after only 5 minutes of playing around. You've got to set up your context. Right. You got to customize your dashboards. You know what I mean?
It's only as useful as you make it. It really is. And if you're not going to make it useful, it's not going to be useful. It's not going to come out of the box and be like boom and wow you right away. You need to set it up. And once you set it up, like I did with different home screens set up by a different context, I like it. I do.
Thank you, Derek. It's nice after 6 weeks. It's nice to hear.
Yeah, I'm not a bad guy. Yeah.
Not a bad guy.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about some devices that you may be able to run Chameleon on in the near future. This week we had a whole bunch of devices. Don't you just love this time of year? It's fall. We have the iPhone coming out. We're all switching to that. We have we have all sorts of different devices being launched and rumored to be launched and announced and all sorts of good stuff. So this week, Acer announced the A110. It's basically the biggest competitor is going to be the Nexus 7 and the Kindle Fire. It's coming with Jellybean. It's a 7-inch tablet Jellybean right out of the box, in my opinion. If you're going to want this, if 8 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes isn't enough space because it has an SD card. So if you need expandable storage, this might be the way to go. HTC, the HTC One X5 was announced. It was initially being rumored as being called the DIX, the Droid Incredible X, or people are calling it a phablet, a 5-inch phablet, whatever. I hate that term, but so. Thankfully, it's not called the DIX anymore because,
you shorten that, and it's kind of odd to look at on paper, at least.
You don't really want to say, hey, what do you have? I mean, we called other phone, we shorten them, and then we spell them out. That's what we do because Android names are horrible. So did you really want to go out there and be like, oh, yeah, I have the new HTC Dix? You didn't want to do that. So thankfully, it's not called the DIX. At least that's what the rumors go as. It's going to be the One X5 because it's a 5-inch phone, and there's no set information on where it's coming, but it's red. It looks like the Droid Incredible line. Chances are it's coming to Verizon, but hopefully more on that soon. It's rumored to be pretty amazing, and John and I were actually talking offline about it.
I was disappointed to see that there was a Windows Phone announcement this week.
Yep.
I turned it off right after that.
You were hoping that was that phone going to be announced because we were both talking. You know what? That might be the phone to get. Then again, HTC has historically not been the greatest with batteries. They underestimate their battery size, and battery life isn't what it should be. So this thing
a 1080p display phone scares me battery consumption wise a lot.
So if this phone does have a big battery or a battery that can support a 1080p screen, then this might be a heck of a device. I'm excited to see where they go with it. Asus has the PadFone, the phone that's a tablet, that's a netbook, depending on all the different accessories you get for it. Well, even though it just came out, as all things with technology, hey, look, here's the next version of it. So here in a little less than a month, on October 16th, they're going to be unveiling the PadFone 2. It'd be nice if it was offered on some carriers here in the U.S. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying I would buy one, but definitely be cool to geek out with and play with.
It would be awesome. I just don't know if a carrier would want to carry it because it kind of knocks them out of getting 2 data plans. Well, but even with the shared plans, they're getting an extra like $10 a month per device you add to it. So if you knock it out with one device altogether, they're probably not going to want to carry it at all.
So if you're into prepaid plans and you're looking for something on Boost Mobile, that's who you currently use, the ZTE Warp is now available for $200 through Boost Mobile or through Amazon. The nice thing about this is it ships with vanilla stock ICS. No bloatware, no carrier junk, no skins, UIs, whatever. It's straight Android. And it kind of looks like a Galaxy Nexus. So it's almost like a bastardized, cheap version of the Galaxy Nexus. I mean, it has a 4.3-inch QHD screen, 1.4 gigahertz, 768 megabytes of RAM. I mean, it's almost like a Galaxy Nexus. It really is.
Clock speed higher though.
Yeah, a little bit clock speed, a little less RAM. You know,
little smaller screen, which I could never downsize from where I'm at. So
last week we talked about the LG Optimus G, and we were all excited because this is a beast of a phone. The hardware on it seems amazing. We don't know anything else beyond that it's coming sometime in Q4 in the U.S. Don't know what carriers yet, but it would be nice to see it on as many as possible, like other rumors that came out about phones, which we'll get to here in a minute. The Galaxy Note 2 was confirmed this past week to come out on 5 U.S. carriers. So we'll see the Note 2, the 5.5-inch Note 2, you know, the bigger, better, faster version on Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, U.S. Cellular. And surprise, surprise, the Verizon version will probably have a locked bootloader.
Yeah, I would have been surprised if they just had an unlocked bootloader on it personally at this point.
Oh, they won't do that. It's going to ruin the network if the bootloader's unlocked.
Yeah.
Then the network will immediately shut down.
I'd love to see the ratio of bricked Motorola's that they've had to deal with customer support versus bricked Nexus devices. Because
exactly.
Apparently the Nexus must be the one just tying up all their support. You know, nobody ever bricks a Motorola.
You know what? You have to try hard to brick a phone now. I mean, you literally have to set out as, I'm going to brick this phone today. I mean, with fast boot and SBF, and I mean...
I haven't done it, and I didn't know anything about it, and I have not bricked anything. I've gotten into a little bit of a situation. I lost all of my soft keys, but
you know what? Rootman and Ramen Scott figured it out. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. So
yeah,
you have to really set out. Today, I'm bricking my phone, and you have to. I mean, you have to be pretty damn good at doing it to do it too. But anyways, that's a rant for another show. A couple other devices I want to mention real quick. So, Oppo. I don't know how you say that. We'll say Oppo. Okay, we'll say Oppo. So Oppo, a Chinese company, the Find 5. So we got the specs on that this week. No mention of pricing or availability, but it has a 12-megapixel camera, 2 gigs of RAM, Snapdragon S4 Pro processor, 1.5 gigahertz quad-core, 5-inch screen with 441 pixels per inch. It's going to have a full 1080p 1920 by 1080 resolution. That's nuts. I love this age we live in. That's nuts on a mobile device.
That's insane.
Yes, it has a 2,500 milliamp hour battery. I mean, it's going to have a decent sized battery to be able to push all those pixels. So it's going to come with Jellybean. We don't know anything else besides that, but that's awesome. I mean, the phones that are being announced now, God, those things are powerhouses, and I want every single one of them.
Asia is just kicking us around like we're from last year at this point.
Yeah, let's talk. You know what? Unfortunately, Dan Charlton isn't able to join us this week. He would love to talk about the next phone, He does not like Intel CPUs in his mobile devices, and I just don't know the architecture enough to yell about it. But
it'll get there. It'll get there. It's not there now. I can say it's not there now, but it's got
the Medfield 2 gigahertz CPU in the Razer I, which is the European version of the Razer M here in the U.S. Everything's exactly the same on the outside. Software, it's the same phone. It's just it has a different processor in it, obviously different radios. But it's edge-to-edge display, 2,000 milliamp hour battery, ice cream sandwich. Actually, no, I lied. The software isn't exactly the same. Chrome does not work on it yet. Chrome does not support that processor yet. So if you're watching this or listening over in the UK and you're going to plan on getting this phone and Chrome's your latest browser, or your favorite browser, don't worry. Google said it's going to be updated soon. I don't know what soon means. Could be tomorrow, could be a month, but they're going to update it to support that architecture soon. So don't
That's
worry.
x86. Maybe you can just bring desktop Chrome over and just shrink it down. Just be done.
Chrome
with
OS.
It. Yeah, just put Chrome OS on it and be done with it.
I wonder how much development it takes to support that new chip, like the Medfield.
Native development kit wouldn't be hard. It would be the Intel's having to port over for the compiler. That's when they just finished their Jellybean port. That's more the grunt work, because native development kit, a developer can compile it against the architecture a little. I mean, for the most part, they're coming in at a good time, because it would have helped them to come in a little bit earlier. But you look at all the multi-core, like a quad-core processor now, and none of the mobile operating systems really scale all that well to 4 cores anyway. So they're putting on a single core, but single-threaded performance is still more important than multi-threaded at this point, so they won't suffer too bad for a little while.
And also, you mentioned that they were late to the race, but I don't think this is a Windows phone type late. This is like they have some time to actually come in, and I really hope that they increase their market share. It'll help everybody.
Let's talk about one last rumor that this past week, Nexus Rumors, this time of year is awesome. A new Nexus phone is going to be coming out soon. We're going to start hearing all sorts of stuff, and every Android fan is going to turn into basically what we made fun of about Apple fans the past week. So I'm going to turn into that guy, and I can't wait to do it. This past week we heard about the Galaxy Nexus 2 or maybe the Galaxy Premier. It looks like it's probably going to be called the Galaxy Premier instead. It's actually not going to be the Galaxy Nexus 2. Who knows? Rumors are rumors. I could be wrong and not know what I'm talking about. But based on what speculation and leaks and all sorts of good stuff around the internet, we found out that a phone called the GTI9260 is apparently in the works. It might not be the Galaxy Nexus 2. It could be called the Galaxy Premier. It's going to have an 8-megapixel camera. And you know why I don't think it's a Nexus? Because it has an SD card. The Nexuses don't do that. So we'll see what happens with that. And it was also rumored to have a Cortex A9 CPU, which right now is just vapor hardware because it actually doesn't exist.
A11, you mean?
Yeah. What did I say?
A9.
Oh, okay. I meant to say A11. Yeah. Good catch here, John. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. With that, either way, it's a decent phone, and we'll talk about it. But I don't think it's a Nexus. We're still waiting for those rumors to hopefully come in the next few weeks. Let's move on to Jellybean ICS updates here. So just today, we heard from Paul O'Brien at Monaco that the HTC One X Jellybean update should be coming soon, sometime in October. And then other HTC devices would follow before Christmas. Maybe that's the 1S, the V, who knows? But information is good information. So if you own that device or those devices, Jellybean is coming soon, hopefully sooner than later. The Sony Xperia Ion got ICS this week. Hey, not bad. It's only been out for nearly a year. The Samsung Galaxy Exhilarate got ICS as well. Once again, not bad. Been out for almost a year. That's good. It's good. Hopefully we'll see Jellybean before Christmas on those two devices as well. Rootin' and ramen noodles, as Anthony Feliciano says. All right, so for rootin' and ramen noodles, oh, I can't believe I said that. That's okay though. So AOKP, the Android Open Kang project, got Build 2 this week. You know what that reminds me of? The song, Blur 2. Anyways, Galaxy Nexus, Nexus 7, Nexus 7, multiple Samsung devices, multiple Galaxy tabs. Got all sorts of support this week. There's tons of new features, tons of customizations. If you're into customizing all the things, then you might want to check out AOKP.
Yeah, I'm currently running AOKP 2, and it is nice. Added a lot more features over the first build, but the second version is very nice and extremely stable from my experiences. I've been running it for about 3 or 4 days.
Good. Yeah, that's good. AOKP is one of those ROMs that literally packs everything in for customization. They don't hold back. It was like, I wonder if they can customize that. Yep, we're going to try to. I mean, they want you to customize everything, and they give you that ability. I ran AOKP a little bit in ICS time. It was okay. I didn't hate it. So yeah, if you're into, like I said, all the things being customized, then yeah, give it a try. Check them out.
And if you like unicorns a lot.
Or if you like unicorns, yeah. Their logo is a unicorn designed by the Flash.
Oh, funny thing that I found today is when you go to all apps, installed all apps, there's unicorn porn as an installed app that's hidden, and I didn't know that.
It's a live wallpaper.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. Check it out.
I thought it was hilarious. I was like,
so you're saying
floating pink? It's a pink background with floating unicorn hands. It's a lot like Phase Beam is.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious.
Mm-hmm. It's funny.
So
Not something you want to hand your phone over to somebody for, though. Hey guys, yeah, you can borrow my phone. Here's my pink unicorn wallpaper. Check it out.
Some people might like that. Some people might like pink unicorns. All right, so Rootin' and Ramen. The new Amazon Kindle Fire HD gets rooted with an old exploit. Remember Amazon? They forked ICS and customized it and made it, Amazon OS, whatever they're calling it, Fire stuff. And what they failed to patch a known existing bug in ICS. Which, hey, that's good for customization, so it can now be rooted and you can do all the things to it that you can with root. The bootloader so far remains locked, but you know what? Those Android devs, they amaze us. I'm sure we'll have an unlocked bootloader, a bootloader hack, crack, whatever you want to call it in the near future. The Android community never ceases to amaze me. Because things like this happen, over at XDA, a new universal root method was released. And I wouldn't say it's true universal yet. It has been tested on every device. But what it does is it's a simple batch file for Windows, obviously. You run the batch file and boom, it does its thing. What it does is it uses a remount timing issue for Android's ADB restore service. And it works on Jellybean and ICS and allows you to root a lot of different devices. It's working on a lot of different Sony Xperia devices, the Nexus 7, a few different LG devices, a few different HTC devices, a couple Samsung devices, and more, some odds and ends. You want to check it out, we'll post the links after the show and check them out on XDA and try it on your various devices, see if you can root all the things with it, supposedly. But, and that's great. We need more easy methods like that, so there isn't 72 different methods for 72 different phones. I like that. It makes things easier for people that want to root their devices, or as well as root their friend's device or a family member's device, or whatever. You don't have to download a separate tool to do it, or research how do I do it on this device. You just go to the one size fits all. I like that.
Okay, well, let's go over, let's wrap up with a little bit of carrier news. We got Sprint's CEO they've sold 1 million LTE devices, which is kind of cool. It's a good milestone for them to hit.
Yeah, that's not bad, especially because they just really got into LTE. The better part of the past 6 months.
Yeah, and they're still on track for their 100-city release for their LTE network in cities in the next couple of months. So that's pretty cool. AT&T LTE in Seattle, Portland, Detroit, Honolulu, Pittsburgh, Memphis, Philly, Cincinnati. Basically, everybody's scattering to get LTE footprint expanded. Pretty cool. And then also a side thought that I had going to work, when all these iPhone 5s come on my network, I wonder how the networks are going to react, because I remember when it was when they came out with 3G and they had problems or claimed that they had problems. But I wonder what it's going to be like with all the LTE usage. I don't know. Hopefully, Verizon, who I'm on, can keep up.
The 3G on Verizon didn't get hit particularly bad when they got it, but they don't have as many iPhones as AT&T does. But
AT&T has, I would think, has the majority of them because they were exclusive.
They do. They still do by a good margin, actually. But LTE, because Verizon was anticipating and telling us to expect 5 to 10 megabits a second.
You know what? That's really annoying, John. Remember a year ago, almost a year ago, back in what was it, December? We got our.
I was getting 35 the day that I got my Nexus.
Oh yeah, I was consistently getting 30s, and now I'm getting mid-teens.
15, 18, 20. That's like HSPA speed and LTE battery life. So there's a win-win. There's a win-win situation.
The question is, though, are we being throttled, or is it just because the network's bogged down? A little bit of both?
That is the question. That is the question.
I would honestly think throttled where I'm at, because I'm not in a gigantic metropolitan area or anything like that. I don't see where there have been that many people that jumped on it, and it's saturated here, too.
I'm probably throttled. I use at least 6 gigs per month, so...
So real quick on the patent wars, not going to get into it because we're running out of time, but it's ongoing. Microsoft won a few things against Google/Motorola Mobility. In Germany, there's an injunction going to happen. It basically they lost a patent infringement case. We're saying that the patent infringes on a Microsoft patent to allow for a soft input panel system and methods. What's that mean? It means applications that receive input from various sources and methods. Pretty much a lot of Android apps, they're saying that's bad. So they lost that. Sales ban on the Galaxy Tab 10.1 is to remain in place. Here in the U.S., Judge Koh said a complaint's been filed by Motorola to the ITC, and Apple is heavily under scrutiny right now. They're investigating 7 different patents. We'll see what happens. Basically, we don't know a whole lot about it. The release said that Motorola Mobility filed the complaint, and the investigation will be surrounding certain wireless communication devices, portable music and data processing devices, computers, and components thereof. So we don't know the list of devices, but we've heard before that it's MacBook, iPhone 3, the whole way up to iPhone 5 now, and as well as iPod Touch. So I'm sure we'll find out more about that. But that case, isn't going to be heard for a while. I mean, right now the Samsung just added the iPhone 5 to its list of infringing claims on 8 different patents, and that's scheduled to go in March. So we got 3 months. Yeah, we got.
It's just March 2014 on the.
Yeah. We got. I typed that wrong. I should say.
Oh, just making sure, because I was like, yeah, we're going to drop the ban hammer 2 years from now.
Yeah, a year and a half from now. No, but March 2013.
We're going to get them then. Yeah, we're going to put it in them.
March 2013, not 2014. That's going to go to trial. That's Samsung adding the iPhone to its 8 patent claim. So a lot of stuff's going on. Not a lot of real information, just filings going on here and there. And it's going to be a bumpy road, especially now that the iPhone has an LTE phone that comes out tomorrow, because the chances are HTC is going to follow through with their suit. So I'm sure next week we'll have some more to go on with that.
Okay, for you guys watching, there are a couple different sources that you guys can find us. YouTube, one. You can also find us on Google+, Android Authority page. Also, SoundCloud. You can find us on there. Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and we do have an RSS feed. And also, if you want to get more information about our posts that we post on AndroidAuthority.com, if you go to the home page and scroll down to the bottom right, there's a section called On Air, and that is all of our posts after we've done our shows for download links and also the links to the news that we talk about. Okay.
Well, thank you once again, John, for joining us, and Phil, we appreciate you coming on the show and talking about the amazing work you guys are doing over there with the Chameleon launcher. So right now, you can pick that up on the Play Store for $10.26, I believe.
It's just 10. It was there was weird conversions, right? So we wanted it to be 10 everywhere, but we got 10 and a little bit less here or there. So we went back and we fixed it all, so it's nice and 10 even.
10 even, okay. So, okay, $10. Get your Chameleon launcher. It's nice. They've done a lot of amazing work to it over the past few months. So good job, guys. All right, thanks once again.
Eric, we have a contest, right?
Oh, we don't have a contest. How did I forget about the contest? Okay, so we have a contest. Android Authority is giving away a International Galaxy Note 2, and yeah, it ends actually in a few days. So if you haven't watched the show before, haven't listened before, and you haven't gone over to AndroidAuthority.com, go over there and look on the website. You'll see the link for the contest. You'll go into the contest Rafflecopter, and you'll enter at the very bottom of the contest. It will say Android Authority on air, and you're going to put the word Patent Wars, all one word, Patent Wars in there. That's going to give you one additional vote, one additional chance to win the Galaxy Note 2, which will be available soon on all U.S. carriers, or the 5 major U.S. carriers. All right. Once again, thank you. And if you have any additional questions for us or for Phil, let us know. We will relay them to him. Thank you guys very much. Have a good evening.
Thanks. Got to get back to work.